My special guest this afternoon was phenomenally successful with the lead singer of Wet, 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 but he spent the last decade in theatres, not only in the UK, but also in Broadway, starring in productions such as Blood Brothers, Witches of Eastwick, Chess, and now the male lead is Shay in Andrew Lloyd Webber's Evita. It's in Belfast at the moment. It runs at the Grand Opera House until Saturday the 14th of September. I refer, of course, to Marti Pellow. He very kindly opened his door of his dressing room earlier on today and let me in for a natter. Sitting in Marti Pellow's dressing room, and you wouldn't know Evita's on. Well, hopefully it's Evita, because there's camouflage clothing, a beret and a big pair of nasty boots. Marty, how you doing?
Hi, absolutely. As you can see with them boots there, I'm obviously doing a lot of dancing in this show.
Is it true you have to waltz in those? Because
Yes.
they are beastly boots, aren't they?
Oh, they're big tackety boots, but you know, having worn big tackety boots as a child, I'm a bit light on my feet with them.
Well, Belfast, Evita started on Tuesday. Press night was on Wednesday. It's a 2-week run. But my goodness, some excitement about this show. It must be unbelievable to be part of it.
It's a beautiful show, and it really is. It's a real testament to Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice's writing. The whole structure of the piece for me is very accessible, and I love the way that they've arranged it, and they kind of wear their influences on their sleeve. Some of the recipe in the piece is kind of echoes Sondheim, and so for me it really shows you them at the beginning of their career as writers to do a piece as prolific as this and that stood the great test of time. But I love it because the songs, I became familiar with them through the pop culture, you know, like Don't Cry For Me Argentina or High Flying Adored and Oh What a Circus through David Essex. So as a child I was familiar with the songs but didn't necessarily relate them to a musical because it wasn't really where I was coming from. So that's what first turned me on to it.
And as you say, Tim Rice, you're singing his words as opposed to your words, but they're easy to familiarise with, or are they?
Well, I'd worked with Tim before, with him and the ABBA Boys. I did Chess for them, and so he's busy with the pen. He's a great wordsmith, and I just love the way that it rolls off the tongue.
And presenting words like that in a different way that are part of a bigger picture, how do you feel doing that? Because it's not you centre stage, so to speak. You know, whereas you were as a performer with Wet, 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 it's all eyes on you. Whereas there's more of a narrative in this, isn't there?
Well, you know, that's exactly right. You know, and I think to be part of a team and to be part of an ensemble is something that I relish. You know, that whole sense of connection with the piece is important, that it doesn't lie in one pair of shoulders. And what I do in this piece is basically I kind of guide the audience through as it unfolds, almost like a narration. That in itself, you know, has its parameters, but it's also good that you get to break the fourth wall and engage more in the audience.
And Belfast has always been a good friend to yourself as well. You've always enjoyed here, haven't you?
Aye. We've always done well here, you know, with Wet 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 or coming here as a solo artist or just doing my work. And it's nice to be, this is the first time that I've did some theatre in the city, and hopefully it'll not be my last.
And talking about theatre, you know, you mentioned relishing it there. You do relish theatre now. You've become part of it, haven't you?
Well, that's me now, been doing it 10 years, and I've been, you know, afforded the luxury of doing it both sides of the ocean, you know, from the West End to Broadway. And
what's Broadway like?
It's weird, you know, I put it this way, the night before, the first time I ever played Broadway, on the Monday they change over all the lights, you know, so I'd arrived on the Friday, and I must admit that I stood there on the Sunday night and made sure he spelt my name right. But
plenty of photographs.
Aye, when you're going across Times Square and you look up and you see your name in lights, and you know, that's always a special thing. You know, I played Madison Square Gardens and stuff like that, you know, but the whole Broadway thing was something that I didn't see coming.
What's the acceptance been like? You're obviously, I wouldn't say you're an old timer now, you've been at it 10 years, but what's the acceptance been like within the theatre business of somebody with a very successful pop career, crossing the boundary in a way?
Well, I think you go on the merits of how I think you lead by example, and I think that dictates you as an artist. You know, I think if you're blasé about whatever art form you're in shaky ground. But I think, you know, for me, for instance, I always arrive well rehearsed. You know, I always, you know, I'm off the script, and because I think that's the way it should be. You know, for me, that brings confidence and a sense of knowing the piece and being able to instantly engage in it and start to engage in your imagination rather than working from a piece of paper.
And what about the voice? You know, your voice has gone through obviously a sort of that Scottish cross American soul. You did a bit of Nashville, you got a bit of soul, but now it's projecting to an even larger audience in a way. How's it holding up?
Oh, well, I think it's all about timbres of your voice. I mean, I think when you're in a pop environment or you're using a pop sensibility to your music, then it's different timbres of your voice you use, you know. And I think that it's always been there within my voice. It's just having the songs to explore that part of your voice. You know, I mean, sometimes a whisper will travel more than a scream will ever do. And I think it's about making those decisions with it and understanding the versatility of your voice and being able to access that. Getting nearly 50 years on the planet, you know how to understand your instrument now, or you're in big trouble.
And you'll be using your instrument in a slightly larger environment in the Odyssey here in December. Wet, 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 or back. You going to hang around for it there too?
Oh, you know, I mean, we're coming over there. We're always looking forward to it. You know, Wet, Wet, Wet comes out to play once every 5 years, or whenever we can, you know, find the time for us all to be in the same time frame.
But we were mentioning earlier on about Tim Rice's words, but you think of some of the great songs that Wet 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 have written over the years. You guys have put together just the odd classic, so it's a big night out, isn't it, for maybe yourselves as well as the audience?
You know, well, this is no doubt. This isn't about educating this tour. It's about celebrating the work that we've done. You know, it's just about, you know, doing a load of number one songs and songs that have meant a lot, not to just to the songwriters, but to the millions of people who subscribe to that. So it's about celebrating 25 years of the body of work that we've done. So it's just about, come on, let's just play some hit records. You know why? Because we can. Within pop music, the complexity resides within the simplicity of it. And once you get your head around that chain of thought, then it's about what you leave out.
We were talking about great songs there and Wet 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 songs, but some of the songs that you've been able to sing in the likes of Chess, Blood Brothers and Evita, any songs you really, really want to get your lungs around?
I think my next project that I'd love to do is spend some time singing with some of the ladies, do some duets, because I've never really explored that avenue. And
anybody in mind, some of the modern artists or some of the classics?
Well, for me, I love individual singers. You know, I love people who have a great when I say honesty to their voice. You know, I love people like K.D. Lang.
Yeah.
You know, where there's just an honest voice. People like Kate Bush I love, because these are just great singers who really take you on journeys.
Whenever you mention the two of them, what about Annie Lennox?
Oh, Annie, aye.
Did you sing with her?
Oh, all day long. You know, I'd love to.
Because there's somebody with real honesty in their voice.
And a powerful lady.
Yeah.
You know, and a great. I've had the pleasure of meeting her a couple of times, and a great presence. You know, and a powerful lady, and that brings an enormous amount of respect, and I find her, just a wonderful artist.
So Belfast for 2 weeks. Where are you living these days, by the way? Because you mentioned Broadway, you mentioned America, you're doing work over there, you're on tour here. Where's your base?
Where my family is, you know, I kind of split my time between London and America. You know, I spend a lot of time in Memphis. It's been a great city to me, and I love writing there, and there's something about sitting in the banks of the Mississippi that always appealed to me.
Do you miss home?
Well, I think home's something that you cherish and you carry in your heart, you know, and it's not dictated by four walls, you know, so it's something that I access all the time. It's a state of mind, isn't it?
Oh dear, he's ranking up these air miles. Marti Pellow, you're looking great, you're sounding even better. Keep coming back to us, because we like you.
Aye, I will.